Welcome to today's Training Tuesday, everyone. My name is Heidi Reese, and I am the Training Programs Manager at Dayton Superior. Just want to go over a couple of items before we get going in today's Training Tuesday. Everyone who has joined muted, but please feel free to ask for any questions that you may have through the Q&A, as well as or the chat functionality in Zoom. And you can find that up in your nav bar, and you can just ask us questions throughout, and we'll definitely have a mini question and answer session at the end. So like normal, this presentation is intended for training purposes only. If you require any technical specifications or products mentioned in this training, please refer to DaytonSuperior.com to get those. So Dayton Superior, we are the leading provider of engineered solutions for the concrete construction industry. You may know us for accessories or chemicals or forming, but we are the building solutions programs overall single source manufacturer and distributor for accessories, chemicals, forming. But not only that, we provide you with engineering capabilities, whether they're for bridge deck or for precast and tilt through the TiltWorks system. We have a wide variety of repair and restoration for new products, or new projects, I should say, or if you need to, like I said, repair and restore for the chemicals, forming and shoring, as well as various for accessories, precast, tilt, rebar splicing, regular contract for construction, regular construction. And then as well as training. We want to back all that up with our training. So if you want more information after we're done or on something else that we've done in the past, please feel free to get with us at training@DaytonSuperior.com, and we can customize something for you or just talk through your needs and get that taken care of. So today we're going to be talking about the Aztec plastic bar supports. Today, to talk us through this is none other than Chuck Hogue. He has been in the construction industry for over 49 years, with 20 of those as a dealer for accessories, forming, and chemical products. 29 of those, almost 30, huh? When's the 30 hit, Chuck? June, okay. So 29 of those has been with Dayton Superior. Chuck's worked a lot of different roles, which really builds around his strengths, and now he's stuck with me in the National Training Manager position. So he is our go-to guy for all the knowledge with all of our products. He has a business sense, like I just said, and a civil engineering degree, and it helps well round him for everything. And he's going to tell us all about Aztec today.
Thank you, Heidi. And good afternoon, everybody. So let's talk today about the Aztec plastic bar support. Bar supports in general typically have to follow CRSI guidelines. For those of you that are not familiar with CRSI, it's the Concrete Reinforcing Steel Institute. They actually make recommendations to the building codes as to what and how products are to be used. And the bar supports are typically put in place here and are estimated and used in every facet of a concrete formwork. Primarily the position of the purpose of the bar support is to position the rebar within the concrete structure. Basically, they're intended primarily to support steel reinforcement and normal construction loads, which basically means you and I walking on it. They are not intended to support hoses for concrete pumps, runways for concrete buggies, or the concrete buggy itself, or similar loads. Primarily, we find those out of the, especially the concrete pump truck, when they actually have their hoses dragging on the rebar cage, they have a tendency to crush the bar supports, whether they're steel or metal. But typically, bar supports are not designed to support that. If you're going to be supporting that, please let us know so we can actually increase the number of bar supports in the area so that can actually help support that system. Bar supports in place. Typically, you're going to want to make sure that you have a bar support going in place that actually has, it can support the bar in position and can be tied off. And two, that it has openings in and around it to allow concrete to flow freely in and around it, so you don't get any honeycombing in and around the product.
I feel like honey.
No, well, honey, this is a little bit different honey. So this, you want to make sure that you fill all the voids around the concrete, because you don't want water to accumulate there. And on days like today, if you're in the northern half of the country, you'll understand what I'm saying. Because if water's in the concrete today, it's ice, it's frozen. So, and then when water freezes in the concrete slab, it does create a major problem. So you got composite bar supports all being used in around pretty much most of the projects here. Composite bar supports actually started becoming a major item back in the 1970s, when mostly it was all metal bar supports that were used, but because steel was becoming problems with getting steel, etc. Plastic actually started coming in, and the plastic bar supports are actually almost, I'm going to say they are better, if not, they are as good as, if not better than the metal bar supports. A couple of different reasons for that is we're going to talk about that. They're non-corrosive. You don't have to worry about them rusting. If they get knocked over, you're not going to, no harm done. They can be a little more expensive, but they can also be a lot less expensive than, let's say, an epoxy coated plastic dip material or even epoxy coated. One of the great things is they are a concrete gray in color. They are lightweight. If you ever watch an iron worker carry out bar supports out onto the deck, they will typically grab a couple 100 feet of bar support, metal bar supports in their bundles and carry them out. Plastic bar supports enables a guy to grab like 600 or 700 feet of bar supports if he can carry all the boxes and carry it out. The biggest problem they have is the cardboard box to get rid of it at the end of the job. One of the great things about bar supports, plastic bar supports, is it's recycled material. This material is that old milk bottle, that old water bottle, that old soda bottle that you had running around and you threw into the recycle bin. This typically is material has basically found its way back into being recycled, repurposed into that of a bar support. Applications on this material. We've got slabs, flat slabs, we got walls, tilt-up construction, excessively. Tilt-up uses pretty much only plastic bar supports. A lot of the foundation chairs that you're seeing in today's marketplace are all plastic. Precasters like this product also because with the metal bar support, like I said, if it gets knocked over, you have to worry about metal being on the exposed surface. So if plastic gets knocked over and it's on the exposed surface, you're not going to get any rust stains from it. And a number of the DOTs have actually approved plastic bar supports throughout the marketplace. So with Aztec, Aztec's been around a long time. Dayton actually acquired them in the late 90s here. Aztec Plastic Company out of California was a manufacturer primarily just of, they had about 10 or 12 different Aztec product pieces. And some of those are still in existence today. The easy chair, tower chair, castle chair, paving and sand chairs, X chairs. And as you can see, the list runs on. We've got easy lock wheels, plastic slab bolster upper, slab bolster and beam bolster. We also have easy lock slab bolster, and we have concrete dobies that also fall in under the Aztec product line. Dobies, for those of you that are not familiar with it, are a
Big hunks of blocks, right?
concrete blocks.
They're very, very heavy.
And they typically can have a wire connected to them or little knockouts in them where they can hold the rebar in place. Excuse me. So what size support should I use? Usually an engineer will specify. The engineer will specify what concrete coverage he wants from the floor surface to the bottom of the rebar. When this comes through, that is typically the coverage that you have to have. So if you order a chair right here, 3 1/4, the chair will go in place, support the rebar 3 1/4 inches off of the fill grade. Now, for that, our best seller that we have is the Castle chair. It typically is an on-grade single mat rebar chair or wire mesh. Bottom layer actually has a wide base on it, a circular base, and it is probably about 1 inch to 1 1/4 inches wide. And this enables you to actually give a good support to that chair. So it's a great chair for when you're having slab on grade or concrete fill. It's available up to 6 1/4 inches in height, 1/4 inch increments. The other great thing about this chair is it's dual sides. So basically, if you have 1 1/2 inches, you'll have 1 1/2 inches on one side, 1 3/4 on the other. If you turn a chair 90 degrees. So basically, you can get one chair that will do 2 different sizes. It depends. Basically, primarily, all you have to do is just rotate the chair 90 degrees. So it depends on how you want to turn the chair. We also have our on-grade mesh chair. This is a great little product here because it basically grabs the wire mesh, either 10 gauge, 6 gauge, or 10 gauge. You can also use 4 gauge or 8 gauge on this. And what it does is it right at the intersecting points where the wire mesh intersects, you can actually put this chair, attach it to the wire mesh. If you have to move the wire mesh for whatever reason, you can pick it up. The chairs will stay attached to the wire mesh. This enables you to basically pick it up. Let's say you're doing a elevated platform and you've got wire mesh going down, but you've got to either put something underneath it or oil it or form release, etc. That product, you can pick the wire mesh up, move it, and then bring it back and set it in place, and the chairs are all ready to go. Also have concrete dobies. As you see, any of these on-grade applications, concrete dobies on the West Coast and actually in the south central part of the country are becoming more and more popular. Basically, it is a concrete brick. It basically is a sand and shale mix, concrete mix, either with wire or without wire, and basically will support your rebar. So we've actually used this in conjunction with a lot of our plastic chairs to basically accommodate, depending on what size rebar, et cetera, are going to be required. Now, if I look at a lot of the plastic chairs, the easy chair is probably one of the most legendary chairs in the marketplace. This chair has been used for 45 years by bridge contractors, high-rise developers, anybody pouring multi-floored projects. And bridge contractors typically like it because they can use it out on the fascia of their overhang. It has a very small footprint. It's a concrete gray in color. And this chair it has extremely, really good concrete, it'll withstand loading on this in this chair. You can also get this chair with a stand base if need be. Here you can see it being used in a parking structure. Like I said, a lot of these chairs are typically used in anything that has multi-layer. One of the reasons is because of the strength, small footprint, and because of the strength. And on this one, you can see that it's holding up a PT strand going across the deck. Once again, small footprint and it's strong design. The Aztec chair, this chair here is one of the strongest chairs in the marketplace. Single mat or wire mesh bottom layer can be straddled because of it, because of the design of the legs on this system. This tower chair here was actually when I was first came on board with Dayton Superior. At the World of Concrete, we were showing Aztec in our booth, and we actually had a brand new pickup truck sitting in the middle of our booth with 4 of these chairs supporting the pickup truck. So that's how strong this chair is. This chair here has been load rated somewhere in and around 700 to 800 pounds in ultimate strength. In our office here, we like to say that it passes the chuck test. So, but typically it's standard gray in color. You do have a stand base with this also. You can also have the bar chair, which will actually attach to the top of that tower chair to get an extra 3/4 inch to 3.5 inches. You can also use the bar chair as an individual freestanding chair. It is dark gray in color, minimal surface contact. So once again, very small footprint. And you can see here it's accompanied with the tower chair to actually accommodate. Where we see a lot of this being used is when we have slope slabs. So parking structures, etc., where the concrete may vary in thickness, that the slope slab will actually take into place different elevations of the rebar. So instead of changing all the rebar chairs, you only have to change the one top chair. For the paving contractors, we have paving chairs, which typically will grab hold of one rebar. Since all the rebar mat is connected with it by tying it, you can actually support multiple pieces of rebar with this one piece of one chair. Typically, these are going to be spaced somewhere in the range of about 3 foot on center. You can get heights up to 9 inches in height, which makes it ideal for concrete paving. We also have a snap-on mesh chair. We see a lot of these being used, once again, similar to our other chairs. The R22, a lot of this is contractor preference. This one here has a solid base on the bottom, still clips right onto the wire of the wire mesh. Can get up to about 6 inches in height. We see most commonly we're seeing somewhere in the range of 3 to 5 inches as our maximum usage products of 3 to 5 inches. So we see a lot of these being used in our sidewalk construction. Continuous bar supports. basically are intended to accurately locate cold reinforcing slabs in place. The rebar is basically kept because it's now this rebar is going to be a major component within the structural slab, being your bridge deck. So normally the contractor's preference is to use individual support such as easy chair on the fascias. But the rest of the deck, most of the contractors prefer to use a continuous slab, which basically is just a long bar support. And if it's in a plastic mode, it's 2.5 feet, where if we're talking a metal chair, it's 5 foot in overall length. So we have our Aztec strong back slab and beam bolster. Typically, this is an out for elevated slab, typically 3/4 to 3 inches. Typically, we can support up to, and I've seen guys go up to number 10 bar being supported on this chair. Typically, the biggest problem you have with it is when they drop the bar on the chair. Plastics typically don't handle a high impact load real well. They have a tendency, if you drop a heavy rebar on this, if you place it, you're good. If you drop it, you may have a problem. Cold weather instance, for instance, or hot weather can also lead to that. But most of the blends that we use with our cold injections have eliminated the variances that we get with cold weather and hot weather. Slab bolster upper, typically up to 5 inches in height. This is an extremely strong slab bolster for an upper material. The base actually allows you to span your SIP decking or top mat of rebar. You can also all these continuous bar supports on Aztec is a great product, because the one thing I forgot to mention is they all have clips on the end. So on one end it has a receiver, the other one it has a clip on it. You basically punch the two together and you have one continuous piece. Now on metal bar supports, when you're estimating, you typically have to add 10% for lap length. So with plastic bar supports, you have 0% that you have to add for lap length. So whatever you come up with a true number, what you're going to need, that is the number you're going to use. You don't have to add any extra for lap. So slab bolster upper, typically you're going to have your bottom mat going in place here. A lot of times the bottom mat may have individual chairs. The upper mat will be supported with an upper material, basically to suspend between the two pieces of rebar, or it may be supported on an SIP decking if it's a bridge deck. Side form spacers, typically we've got the Aztec wheel here. We're going to go in this part here will be in the strength of the product moving forward. The Aztec face wheel, great for single applications. Typically it comes in, it will slide onto the piece of rebar, make the connection. The one problem you do have on it, if you hit it just right, it will fall off, because it is designed with that clip to basically be able to be taken off and moved if needed on the project. As you can see, there is no locking mechanism in place here, but this is an excellent product, especially if you're talking wire mesh or rebar and you're only talking about, a lot of guys will use this just on a regular slab case where they'll actually attach your wire mesh or the rebar right to it and use this as their bar support. Now we've got the Easy Lock wheel. This is a much stronger unit. It has a locking mechanism, so once you wrap it on top of the rebar, it is connected. Comes up to in what we call height from 1.5 to 6.5 inches, depending on bar size. And it's from the edge of that cage right around the center of it, right in here, is once you make that connection, that edge distance is from that edge to this outside edge.
You should draw a picture of a flower too,
Yeah.
or a Ferris wheel. That's what those remind me of.
Concrete dobies. Basically concrete mixed with shale used to actually make concrete bricks. Typically, we see them in the South Central and the West Coast. Primarily the reason why we don't see it anywhere, that's where they're primarily made. And freight on these is astronomical, so they typically stay in the close to where they're being manufactured. But they have a couple of different sizes here and styles. We have the plain dobie, we have a combination dobie, we got wire dobies and dowel dobies. The most common ones you see here would be a plain dobie and a wire dobie are the two most common. One of the other things that Aztec also has is we have our Aztec speed step. Typically for designing any basically steps forming up, probably one of the more cumbersome projects on a construction job. So typically it enables you to speed up that process going forward. You can have runs and rises up to 8-inch on a riser, 10 to 20 inches on the treads without an issue. It is fully reusable. It's a high-grade plastic composite material. It does make the construction process or the forming process a little bit quicker and easier. So when we're talking about connecting here, we're going to connect a main line board that's going to run the gambit of the steps from top to bottom. And you're going to put a center line on the board. This is going to make the connection. Once you make the first connection, you notice there's a gauge on it. You mark those on what your numbers are on your gauge. That's going to be the same one when you go to the next step up. So it's a repetitive process moving forward. And it does help with the stair, run, rise, and you can actually attach a kneel board on top of it, knee board, so the guy contractor can kneel on it while he's finishing his stair rise, stair run. And that enables everybody to increase their productivity on when they produce basically a step situation. And here we've got a full guidelines on how it actually goes into place. You can see how it actually lines up here inside. Then they just attach their rise boards on here and then start pouring concrete from the bottom, depending on who the contractor is. Some contractors pour from the top down, some pour from the bottom up. Myself, I like to pour from the bottom up. And keep working my way up as the concrete keeps pushing down, keep troweling it off and ready to go. Now, we tried to make life a little bit easier for our customers. So we put out this great little spreadsheet. It's in our bar support handbook. Basically, depending on what your application is, you can actually look at it to see what chair actually is recommended for that operation. And we've also got continuous bar supports, whether it be Adobe, our Cody clips, or tie wire that's out there available for us, wherever you think you may end up needing it. And obviously, we've got resources available. The resources, you can go to DaytonSuperior.com. You got product pages, technical data sheets, safety data sheets. handbooks, and more. Our supports are actually listed in every handbook, just a blurb on them. If you're looking for a little bit more detail, get a hold of the bar support handbook. That'll actually give you more data including in there. And as Heidi talked about earlier, at Dayton, we are a one-stop shop for training, product, engineering, whether it be accessories or chemical.
Yeah, we actually had some feedback on our chat while you were going to town with the training. And we might have someone who wants to customize training for that. So I've got the contact information and we'll get in touch with them, see about customizing. So yeah, see how it works. Just go on that QR code there. Bob, who I'm talking to, don't worry about it. We've got you. But anybody else, if you want another type of training, whether it be through bar supports or forming, accessories, chemicals, other type of things, just scan that QR code and we can see what we can do for you. Are there any questions? Okay, well, all of these are recorded and we put them out on the YouTube channel as well as our Dayton Superior website. They are organized by the products. So you can get to them and review them with your teams if you want to do that. Or like I said, we can do the custom training or a small lunch and learn virtually or whatnot. And I want to tell you guys about something that's going down next week. Real quick, Chuck and I, are going to be in Las Vegas for the World of Concrete. So guess what we're doing for Training Tuesday? We're going to be hanging out in our booth. We're going to be talking to some of our product experts, one of which is sitting here with me, who just talked to you about Aztec, yeah, Mr. Chuck, and some chemical experts as well. And then another gentleman from our Simons organization. And we're doing demonstrations in our booth this year, and we're going to be doing one of those for the Training Tuesday. So go ahead and sign up now for that and get ready for it. We'll be there. Unfortunately, you get to see our faces, or maybe, well, no, unfortunately, you get to see our faces.
No. It will also be, just so you know, it's the time difference will be, it is going to be at 1 o'clock Pacific time.
Yeah, so that's Las Vegas time. So it's 4 o'clock. Let's see if I can remember it right. 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Mountain. So 1 p.m. Pacific. So just a time change only for this week or coming up, for the 23rd. So keep that in mind as well. We do have one question real quick, Chuck. The product that was referenced for the concrete stairs, what is that?
It's called the A100 concrete feed step.
Yeah, let's see if I can find it. Here it is. But it's the A100, one slide before. Ooh, pretty. There we go. So hope that helps you out. You're welcome, April, or Alan, I'm sorry. April asked that earlier. Anybody else have questions? Okay, well, with that, we're going to go ahead and stop for now. I appreciate everybody taking the time to come out and listen. And I hope that you tune in for next Tuesdays at Live World of Concrete, or sign up for the next ones. We're going to do some more bridge decks, so that should be fun. And until then, see you guys.